And here we are, out and about, finally. Me and Jillybean. Man, it's been so long. But here we are. We're just gonna do a short ride. I just wanted to talk about Jillybean. Why I got her, and why these two people are talking to each other.
Are you on a holiday or do you live here?
I actually travel around, so I live nowhere really.
Worst places than here anyway.
I know, well, it could be worse, right? Thank you, man. So, why did I get Jillybean? Jillybean is a 2019 CVO Street Glide. Before Jillybean, I had a Sport Glide. I rode the Sport Glide for about a year. I did a ton of miles with her in that year. I did in total about 16,000 miles. Did really amazing trips with that bike. Super amazing bike, actually. The Sport Glide is just a great bike. My issue was that I fell into this category of biker who actually prefers doing touring and enjoying trips. I remember when I got Ripley, I did immediately like a really long trip with her. It was just amazing. I would even take clients in Spain. I was living in London at the time. I would take clients in Spain where I had to go there. So they would offer in the contract the flight. And I was always say like, no, don't get me flights. You know, just pay for the gasoline. I'd come over with my bike. And I used to do those things. That led me to decide that I actually wanted a bigger bike that would help me travel more comfortable, really. And that's when I saw Jillybean in the shop at Harley-Davidson. I saw her there and I just fell in love. I was like, oh my god, you know, such a beautiful bike. And my idea then was like, well, let me test ride a Street Glide, which I did. And that was probably my downfall, because I discovered like how comfortable a bike can be for this kind of riding that I do. Initially I wanted the Street Glide Special, but there were a few things that I wanted to do to the bike, you know, a few upgrades, and it ended up being like around £1,000 cheaper. Like the Street Glide Special with the modifications would have been like around £1,000 cheaper than my, what's wrong with you people? Than the CVO, than Jillybean. So it became a no-brainer, right? It was like the situation where you go like, damn, you know, if this bike is gonna cost, what's going on with this? I don't know why they're honking. Okay, so they're kind of protesting against the blue zone, or whatever that means. I don't know what the blue zone is. Oh well, so we keep silent for a while. There's nothing we can do about this. They're gonna follow me. Alright, let's get out of here. They've got a blue zone problem here. Alright, so then there was Jillybean in the dealership. I fell in love. It was literally £1,000 more expensive than the Street Glide Special with the modifications I wanted to do to it. So it became a no-brainer for me. And I traded in my Sport Glide for Jillybean, plus obviously a considerable amount of money. So what's so special about Jillybean? Let's see. She's like a workhorse. I can put so much stuff on her, which makes traveling even more comfortable than it would be. So once I've got Jillybean and rode with her for some time, I did some really long trips. My first trip with Jillybean, I rode with her about 6,000 miles from London to Austria to Fakazé. Then I just rode to the Czech Republic, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Finland, went to Sweden, went to Denmark over this amazing long bridge, which was a really interesting ride because it was so windy that day and it was scary. It was so scary to cross that bridge, but that's story for another day. Then I went down to Germany, Netherlands, back to Germany to the Black Forest, through France, back to London, and that was like my first trip with Jillybean. I soon realized that the rear shocks, like the suspension of the Harley touring bikes, is not as great. It's okay, but it's not the best suspension you could probably have. And so that was like the first, or almost the first thing I changed on Jillybean, was the suspension. And I went for the Revo Arc from Legend Suspensions, and oh boy does that change the bike. It's so incredible. These suspensions are so good, it's absolutely ridiculous, you know, the level of comfort you have suddenly. If you buy a new bike, or let's put it this way, if you buy a new Harley and you want to change something, don't get those apes or like an exhaust or something like that. I know the stock exhaust from Harley isn't great because it doesn't really sound like a Harley, does it? Don't get one of those. Get your suspensions in check. The difference is night and day, honestly. It helps you so much, not just with bumps, but going into bends and curves. It's so much better. What else did I change? I bought the highway pegs. Mine are a little bit bigger. They're almost like highway mini floorboards. They're so comfortable, so when you're riding, you can change positions with your feet, you know, and relax a little bit as you ride, which is really appreciated when you're doing long distances. I changed the lights, not the headlight. The headlight is pretty amazing on the CVO. It's one of those adaptive lights that moves with you. So when you go into a bend, the light will actually light where you're going, which is really, really good. It has like a little gyroscope, I think. So I bought the passing lights, which is 2 lights in the front at the top. They light the street a lot during the night, and I wanted to do that because I didn't want to feel unsafe while riding at night. You know, I wanted to light up the street as much as I could so that I can actually feel some level of safety while I'm riding. At the same time, because those lights weren't enough for me, I bought fog lights. They're down there at the front fairings, the lower fairings. Now Jillybean lights up the street. I mean, she really does. Friends of mine, when they saw it, they were like, dude, if somebody stands in front of Jillybean at night, they're gonna get skin cancer. It lights up more than a car, I think, right now, which is fantastic. So when you're traveling at night, it gives you this added level of comfort, knowing that you're safe, knowing that you have light, that you have sufficient light. And so I really like that. I didn't modify much more. I bought a rack, but that's kind of a normal thing. I bought a mini sissy bar. What else? I think that's it. I think that's all the modifications I've done so far to Jillybean. Oh, if you're wondering, I finally got my insurance for the English license plate. I decided to buy it. So they had this offering where they basically offer you either to insure your bike per days, so you can basically insure it for a set number of days or weeks. And so I asked the guy, so how much would be, like, I don't know, 20 days or something like that, just to be sure that I can, you know, ride a little bit more and not to worry too much, and opposed to the weeks, and what's the maximum of weeks I can take. And so the maximum weeks was 8 weeks, and the maximum days, yeah, I think it was 28 or 30 or something like that. The difference for 20 odd days of riding and basically what's 2 months of riding was €50. And so I was like, you know what, I'd rather spend those €50, have this insurance for this particular license plate, you know, for 2 months. I don't need to worry about it. If it happens that I need to extend it, so be it. But more likely than not, I won't be needing to. And that's everything I got for you for today. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to hit subscribe and the like button if you like this video. I'll see you around.